Hello, this is Dr. Bob Evans, and welcome to our podcast, Parental Alienation from Couch to Courtroom and Beyond. We will discuss the resisting and refusing dynamic, commonly referred to as parental alienation, how you'll know it's happening in your case, and what can be done about it. Parental alienation can cause stress and trauma in high-conflict cases. These podcasts focus on how attorneys and mental health professionals can support families and children. Well, hello. Welcome back to everyone. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Kelley Baker from this great state of Texas. And Kelley's doing some really fascinating things that I would like people on this podcast to know about. And I think it would be very instructional and very informative. So without a whole lot of ado, I want to introduce Dr. Kelley Baker. Hello, Dr. Kelley Baker.
Hi. It's nice to be here with you, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. First of all, before we get into any kind of substance, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. So I am in the Central Texas area. I have been working with a population of families going through separation and divorce for about 25 years. And over the course of my career, began to specialize more and more in high conflict work, and definitely has been the majority of my work over the last, at least 15 years. And then as a part of that work, became more and more specialized in parental alienation dynamics. And I used to provide a ton of counseling services to families. I've played almost every role there is in a family going through divorce. I've been an individual therapist, a couples counselor, a marriage therapist, a co-parenting coordinator, a parenting facilitator, you name it. And as I worked more and more with the families, I was asked more and more to do assessment work. And so my practice over the last several years has really focused a lot on guardian ad litem assessments and child custody evaluations and parental alienation assessments. So in Texas, guardian ad litems don't have to be attorneys. I know in many states they do. In Texas, a guardian ad litem usually has some sort of social service work kind of background. And so that's primarily the role I'm asked to play now. And recently, I've expanded my work to not be a sole practitioner, but to take on LPC, which is licensed professional counselor associates, people who are needing to get their hours for their licensure, and trying to offer a training curriculum so that new counselors can be trained in working with this population. Right.
So one of the things that you're doing in your practice, we talked a little bit about you're expanding it into training, but you're also doing some I don't want to say reunification work, but more of a family renewal kind of thing. Tell us about that, because that's really needed. I mean, there are very few programs for people who are qualified doing, quote, reunification, and you got an interesting concept on this.
Yeah. So, traditionally, family type retreats, reunification retreats, have been used with very severe cases of parental alienation. And so this is a version of that, in that it definitely is a multiple day event. It's a vacation type retreat for a parent and a child or children who are experiencing some distress in their relationship that could be related to the divorce in some way, or related to the children feeling like they're in a loyalty bind, related to the children experiencing some bad mouthing from the other parent, but they are retreats designed to strengthen family parent-child relationships and create experiences where parents and children can bond in a relaxed environment, but with some structure and a curriculum that's designed to enhance their relationships.
Now, some of the programs require a court order to participate. Is that a stipulation in your program?
So no, because these would be families where parents are still accessing their parenting time,
Ah,
but noticing their children uh, making comments that let them know that they are getting some negativity from their other parent, or
hmm,
noticing that the kids are withdrawing in some way. Like, a lot of parents begin to feel like the children are not responding to them in the same way that they used to.
right.
Either, affection begins to decrease, critical comments are made, or some sort of comments that let the parent know that their authority is being undermined in some way,
Would
or
you
wanting to go home early a
would,
lot.
would you require both parents' permission to participate?
So it's not a therapeutic curriculum. It's more of an experiential
Ah,
curriculum. So it's not clinical. It's not therapy, and so it doesn't require that the parents have approval. It's like going on a vacation, but the vacation has some structure. So, parents often begin to really get concerned about their relationships with their kids long
mhm,
before the
mhm.
kids completely shut down and decide not to ever come over to the parents' home again, right?
Gotcha.
And so these are structured relationship building activities.
So, okay, so you maybe let's talk about mild to moderate levels of alienation. Would you take severe cases?
Yes, we would take severe cases, especially. I mean, these techniques for joint activity, um, they're almost team building type things, and
Right.
parent-child bonding activities are would also be very good for a severe case.
Hmm. So, but in severe cases, the child typically is refusing contact. So that might be a scenario that would require a court order.
Yes, I think that one would require a court order, and
Gotcha.
it's yeah.
Very good. So, can you describe some of the activities that people might participate in?
Mhm. So there might be some sailing type activities, for instance. So it would really depend on the interest of the parent and the child. There would be some interviews done before so that we could decide what those activities would be. We don't want to put people on horses if they're afraid of horses, right? So
Or
we want to
boats?
pick, and we want to pick something if there has been an interest in something. If the let's say it's a 11-year-old boy who's been involved in scouts, that might be more hiking might be an interest, or camping might be an interest. Um, there are a lot of parents that I talk to who want to experience something like a rock climbing class with their child, or
Wow.
a kayaking class. But those are interests that we would figure out before we organize the trip.
So would they fill out like some sort of an application to
They
indicate?
would. I would conduct an an intake interview with them, and also give them an interest inventory to look at, to check off what they think the interests would be. But a lot of it is asking parents to describe their children to me, asking them to tell me what have been some activities where you do feel like you and your child felt a lot of closeness, or do you have something that you enjoy doing and have a lot of positive memories around?
Hmm.
That's still positive. In some of these families, what happens, you've seen this, is things that were positive activities,
Right.
let's say baseball or whatever, ice skating, whatever, have become activities that the child completely rejects,
Right.
and so there are just some of those interview questions that would be really valuable for me in coming up with options for the parent about where they might want to do the retreat. Are they interested in the ocean, or are they interested in the mountains, sort of thing?
So, I mean, would you be going to the mountains with them? Would you be going to the shore or whatever?
For a while, yes, until I get a good system down where I feel like I can train um, and trust some other
Professionals?
professionals to
Hmm.
do that kind of work.
So one thing I'm goes through my mind is, you might wind up getting subpoenaed to go to court to give testimony. Is there any kind of a stipulation in your agreement with the parent that, hey, you're not going to do therapy, or that doesn't exist, that you would go do you not therapy, that you wouldn't give testimony, or that you might just leave that out, and if they need you to go to give testimony, you would do it?
I'm happy to give testimony and report on um, how the retreat went to the court. I think that could be valuable.
Oh yeah.
How does the child respond to the parent, especially in more of a neutral, relaxed environment?
Would you deliberately avoid therapy or counseling of some kind? Because now you,
Yes, because it is a non-clinical, and we could be at a vacation retreat that's outside of Texas, so there are licensing constraints, and also
right,
I don't want a parent to be accused of violating, their court order where they have to have joint agreement
right,
for any sort of counseling activity.
right. So when you say that you might do things outside the state of Texas, so would you go to the location or the where the parent, the state that the parent's in, or do they have to come to you?
They don't have to come to me. In fact, the idea of the retreat is that it's really it's open to a variety of locations, just like a parent would be open to taking their child on a vacation, according to uh, their orders, right? Do they have to get permission to go out of their state? Do they have to get permission to go out of the country? Uh, are they able to go anywhere in the United States without some sort of written approval? Because that's just a
Okay.
parent's right to go on a vacation with their kids, right? Um, and so it would depend on what their parental agreements say.
If they have any constraints, then they'd have to live by it, but you could accommodate that.
Yes,
Very
yes.
good.
Well, we definitely want to accommodate that. We don't want a parent doing something that then they're going to be accused of breaking their court order in some way.
Is there a time frame in terms of, like, you're going to be here for 4 days, a week, or how is there a length of time to the process? Or is it
Well,
just
we
according to the parents of a time frame?
time frame and probably finances would be something else the parent would want to consider, and what available time they have um,
Hmm.
with the child.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
talking about finances, do you have how do you figure cost on it?
So costs are figured by location, of course, and also by activities that have to be arranged, or if there's someone there that we have to access to. For instance, if we have to rent ATVs, right? Those it's really popular up in some of like Costa Rica and Hawaii and Puerto Rico. They have a lot of excursions around ATVs and also horses and that sort of thing. So the cost of what the activities that they choose would would
Would
determine.
be factored in.
Yeah.
plus your time and travel time for you or whatever.
Right.
Okay, very good.
Right.
Um, so some of the other things you're talking about doing is training. You want to do some training for other mental health professionals.
Yes, part of the reason that my colleague, Dr. Eichler, and I wrote the book we wrote last year that was published last year on therapeutic interventions for parent-child contact issues is because there's not training provided in most graduate programs, uh,
I think
training
any,
social.
I don't know if there's any training.
Yeah,
I have a close friend that's a professor here in the Tampa area at a university, and they don't even mention the words parental alienation in a clinical psychology program.
right. I've checked the curriculums for the 5 universities that are in about a 150-mile radius of where I am. I mean, it's University of Texas. These are big names, right? Texas State University, Texas A&M. And the curriculums do not include things, even if you don't use parental alienation, but you look for high conflict or um,
Refuse and
yeah, or families going through divorce, even something that general and broad is not typically addressed,
no.
even in family therapy programs.
Mhm.
Licensed marriage and family therapists don't get that in school, and so if they get it in their training after they get out of school, well, that's at least more than what a lot of the therapists in our communities will have. A lot of families walk in to a therapist's office um, and they just don't know really how to help families who are in crises and high conflict divorce.
Well, many of them don't even recognize it as an issue. I mean, I talk to the whole issue of how we basically accept people in an unconditional regard. So whatever the patient walks in the room with, we deal with, whether it's
Right,
real or fabricated or manipulated or it doesn't matter. We just start from there.
right,
And then it's not an investigative process, it's a clinical process. It's not a forensic process, it's a clinical process. So
right, right.
so
So how do we bridge that, right? I mean, as in a training model. Yeah.
It's tough, and it probably needs to be at least options in terms of extensiveness too. And you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So the other part of the training institute piece is that there are practitioners there who have completed a graduate program, but are working on licensure and are getting training and experience, right? And they can provide services at a lower rate than I do, and so it helps to bring the overall cost of therapy during divorce or mental health services during divorce. It helps bring some of those costs down for families also. And if I'm supervising, then I feel like I'm making sure the families are getting what they need, but they're not having to pay my rate to get it. And so
Right.
there's two benefits. There's increasing the workforce, the mental health professionals who understand divorce and the dynamics around it. And then there's providing services at a lower rate, which is also really needed for families.
That's true. That's true. By any chance, do you have a copy of your book handy?
Uh, hmm. So cut that piece out where you had my leggings.
Very
Yeah,
good. That's perfect. You got a good tilt to it, so there's no reflection. Hold it up
good.
again,
Okay.
please. Very good. And Kelly Baker and Amy.
Amy Ackler. Yeah.
Very good. So, Kelly, tell us how people can get in touch with you if they want to explore your options in terms of your programs or whatever.
So all of the options are explained on our website. That's just gone live a few months ago. It's www.centerforrelationalcare.com.
Okay, and that's everything on there to get in touch with you and your folks.
Yes,
And a
yes.
description of the program or just an introduction to it, and then they'd have to pursue a conversation with you to do an intake.
Well, there's some good information on the website that would answer a lot of questions, but they would probably want to follow up with just a request for a initial phone call. Most people have their own set of questions that are tied directly to their experience, and so the website probably doesn't answer everything.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share before we say goodbye and thank you?
Um,
Did we cover everything? You're on the board. You're still on the board of Parent Alienation Study Group?
I am. I am. Yeah, I think. Well, there is one other thing I'll say. That the retreat concept and the reunification, as you know, is getting a lot of heat, and in the many states are experiencing um, some new laws that restrict judges' abilities uh, to order what we know works,
Right.
which is for severe families anyway, right?
Right.
Um, uh,
So a lot of
and
misinformation. There's a lot of disinformation about the programs, and Caden's law is basically a total misapplication to what we're talking about.
yeah, and unfortunately, it's tied to a great deal of money for the states if they accept some version of Caden's law. And so there's motivation to
Right.
get the funds related to VAWA. And but all that to say, it's making it more difficult for the traditional concept of a 4-day intensive for a family who has severe parental alienation dynamics going on. It's getting more and more difficult to order. Many of them, as you know, require some amount of exclusive parenting time after the retreat for the alienated parent. That piece is also getting harder. Um, but so there's there is a need, uh, whether or not it's the best thing for the families. There is a need to begin to uh, come up with other ideas for a reunification
Mm.
intensive that and so part of what we're trying to do is look at different hybrids of the traditional 4-day and see if we can make any changes in any valuable changes for the family. And so, working with, as we begin to treat families at different levels of the continuum and also severe families, and maybe we don't have 90 days of no contact to go with it, but offering some kind of family retreat that may help. So, I want to work with a researcher to from the very beginning to gather data so that because we don't know if hybrids work or not really. We know that once a week for a severe case anyway, we know that once a week in a therapist office,
Oh,
outpatient therapy does not work. We
no.
have plenty of research that shows that doesn't work.
It's well
We all
documented.
Right. We also have enough research to show that the traditional 4-day programs with a 90-day no contact have very good success rates for the most part. What we don't know is this in the middle, like how many days do we need of exclusive parenting time? How long does the retreat need to be? Um, and is there a way to build a different kind of program that allows the judges to not feel like they're going against new
Dogmatic,
legislative?
right?
Yeah. Um, so that's another piece is working with Josh Marsden at Colorado State University, who used to work under Jennifer Harmon, and or working with Ben Hine out of the UK, who's done some great research with fathers and sons and alienation to follow our data from the get-go so
That's
that we
great.
Yeah,
Well, you know what strikes me though as you're talking, you go back to your training modules, if you will, a tremendous need to teach therapists the signs and the symptoms of what might be happening in a family before it gets to a severe level. Before
I agree.
once you have a child no contact, now you're going to have all kinds of protective orders put in place. I mean, it just becomes a mess. Whereas if you say, hey, wait a minute, you guys are on the wrong track here. Maybe we could help teach the child to be, as I said once to Yvonne, Yvonne Parnell, maybe make the kid more Teflon so that some of the manipulations child might be able to resist some of that.
Right, and that is what really good therapy for a child who's in the mix, right, is not just about changing the parent's behavior, but it's creating coping mechanisms for the child, helping the child to learn how to deflect some of that negative messaging. Um, it's wonderful therapy, but that's not happening very much.
No, not at all. Not for this population. Kelley, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was great information.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
terrific information. And for the people that are listening, please recognize you're welcome to go to NAOPAS and please check out what we're offering there for training. And um, gee, your case sounds anything like it might benefit from Dr. Baker's program, don't hesitate. Again, Kelley, that website is the
Centerforrelationalcare.com.
very good. Kelley, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us today. For more information on this topic, please visit www.drbobevans.com or www.naopas.com. We offer classes for both legal and mental health professionals to help educate them on the signs and strategies of parental alienation and how to move forward for a healthier environment for the children of divorce. Please visit www.naopas.com and sign up for our courses and use coupon code PODCAST for a 50% discount.